Hi friends, welcome and welcome back to Donna's Bookshed. Today I'm going to be doing the Booktube newbie tag and telling you a bit more about myself, why I joined Booktube, and what kind of content I'm going to be sharing. If you're brand new here, welcome in, come on, join the family. I am also new here, so we're going to be on this journey together. What's funny is that I actually recorded a video like this about a year and a half ago when I first thought about joining. When I built up myself to say, yeah, I want to go join Booktube, I recorded the video. I think I edited it, but I never posted it. I chickened out, I punked out. I was like too shy, I was too nervous, and I was like, I'm not doing this. And then a year later now, I was like, girl, get it together. What you got to lose? Just post the damn video, record a video, post it, and see where it goes. So here I am. I have my little handy dandy notebook. I wrote down a list of questions that I got from other YouTubers doing this tag, and I'm going to just answer these questions and give you a chance to get to know me, and hopefully I can get to know you. So the first question is why I started my Booktube channel. Started Booktube because I love reading and I like to express my thoughts on the book that I read. So I review books on Goodreads, I do books on Instagram, I review on Storygraph, and sometimes I have a lot of thoughts about those books, but those platforms, there's like a word count or a word limit, I like to say, or sometimes it's not always easy to write out your thoughts, all the thoughts that you might have on a book. So I was like, hey, if I could just talk out my thoughts, then I could really dip into the different nuances and feelings I have about these books that I read. So why not try doing it in video format? And that might be a little easier to get all my thoughts and feelings out. So that's why I joined Booktube, express my book thoughts, and hopefully to meet some bookish friends, because I don't really have bookish friends in real life. My friends don't read like that, and if they do read, it's more non-fiction books, and that's not my jam. That is not my thing at all. I am perpetually living in a fictional world, and that's where I like it. That's where I want to stay. That's where I want to be. That's where I get joy. So that's what I'm about, right? I am going to try to read some non-fiction book as time goes by, but that is never going to be my primary thing to read ever. I'm over that. I've done some of that in the past, and no. The next question is what are my favorite genres? So I primarily read fantasy, romance, literary fiction. As women's fiction, I am not a horror girly, I am not a thriller girly. And wait, before you judge me, I know my favorite book of 2024 was The Reformatory by Tanana Reeve, and I know that's a thriller and horror, but that's a whole other thing by itself. But generally speaking, I don't gravitate towards thriller books. I don't gravitate towards horror books. I scare very easily, and I don't want to read anything that's going to keep me up late at night, or being scared at the slightest noises at all. So no, that is not my primary thing. I will dibble and dabble from time to time. Why do you love reading? I love reading because I feel like it's such a cool way to experience so many different things in life. I love reading fiction because I love experiencing new worlds, like to see how far your imagination can take you. It is just something so endearing, so fun, so unexplainable about just sitting down and getting so engrossed in a story that you can kind of like taste it and feel it, and feel like you're experiencing that world in the book. And that's why I love reading. That's why I love fantasy especially. It just takes you like nowhere else that your imagination can go. It's like when you're a kid and you just start watching like cartoons and stuff, and you get like so engrossed in it, and you're like, wow, that's a whole new world, and then someone has to snap you out of reality. That's what it's like reading for me. It's like I'm in this whole new place, and I just love being there. I love experiencing new worlds. I love the imaginative side of books and reading. What book series got you into reading? So the book series that started me back reading as an adult, because I used to read as a kid and then I went through this phase, I think from college, you just kind of get so wrapped up in reading work for school that you forget about reading for pleasure. So that's what it was to me. But when I re-established my love for reading as an adult was with Children on Blood of Bone by Tony Adeyemi. That book like opened up my world to like fantasy books and how good they could be, how engrossing they could be, like how much fun I could have, like how imaginative, and it just reawakened my passion for reading. I think that was the book I read as an adult that reminded me, hey, you actually love reading and you should do some more of it. The next question is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I have quite a few favorite booktubers, and I think the questions at the top of my mind would be, how do they find time to edit all these videos that they be pumping out? Like, how do you find time to work regular jobs, be moms, be wives, be entrepreneurs, do all these things that they have going on, live full lives, go out with your friends, spend time with your family, record videos, and still edit them too? And some of these videos, I love long form videos. Like when my favorite YouTubers put up 40-minute, 50-minute video, I'm like, yes. 30-minute video, I'm like, yes. Right? I can listen to them and do whatever I'm doing, and I love that for me. But for them, I don't know how they do it. That's what I would ask him. How do you find time to manage and do all of these things, especially the editing part of your videos? Then the next question is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? For me, I think the hardest is going to be editing. Because like I said, I wanted to start a booktube like at least a year and a half ago, and I did record some videos, but I just never got around to editing them or finishing edit them, so they just stayed there taking up space on my computer. And I think that would be the hardest part for me. Like even right now, I have a few videos like raw footage that's been recorded and saved, but I haven't edited them yet. And will I get to edit them? Hopefully I can, because I really want to be consistent with this. So yeah, that'll be the hardest part. Next question. When did you start reading? I started reading as a child. When I was super young, I did have some issues with reading. But when I was like around 8 or 9, I started back reading again. And I did develop a love for it. I was reading books like Thumbelina. And then as I grew more, I was reading like Nancy Drew and Goosebumps and that kind of books. And I really loved them. So I used to have a book collection. And then once I got a little bit older, like in my teens, I started reading my aunts Mills and Boons. She had a whole collection. So that's really when I got into reading. Now, as an adult, I started reading like maybe 10-ish years ago. I got like when the first Kindle Fire came out, I got that. I read a few books on there. The one I remember the most was the Book of Night Woman by Marlon. What's his name? Marlon James. Yeah, the Book of Night Woman by Marlon James. That was like the first book I bought on my that was the first book I bought on my Kindle Fire, and I really loved it. And I read a couple other books, but then I kind of got lost with TV and life and everything else was happening. But as now, this stage in my life, I started reading like in 2022 is when I started back like full on my reading journey, where I was like, no, I love to read and I'm going to put the time in this and I'm going to read. So that's when that was. The next question, where do you read? I primarily read, I have a little reading chair in my room that I like, so I normally read there. Sometimes if I'm home relaxing and I have time, I'll read in my couch. Sometimes I read on my hammock, and the rest of the times I read on my bed. But reading on my bed is a 50-50 chance of me, actually no, it's like a 70-30 chance of me falling asleep versus actually getting reading done. So for the most part, if I actually want to get reading, it's either me sitting on my chair or I'm listening to audiobooks while I'm driving. I think most of my reading is probably through audiobooks while I'm on the road ripping and running. Next question. what kind of books do you like to read? And I think I mentioned this before. My favorite types of books are fantasy books based on what Afrofuturism themes. So fantasy books and romance books are my top tier favorite books. I'm gonna pull for those all the time. If you offer me a fantasy book, I'm gonna read it. A romance book, second, but yeah, that's the kind of books I like to read. And I like to read like high stakes fantasy books. I love fantasy series. If it's going in a new world that has some kind of magical system, I am going to love it. And then the final question is, what does my book collection look like? And for this, I am going to move the camera a little bit just so you guys can get like, just like, not like a whole view of my shelf, but just to kind of see. So you can see this is what my collection looks like. I have a lot of books by Black and brown authors. That is my primary types of books. Right? And then, you know, these are my fantasy shelves and stuff. But yeah, that's just a taste of the kind of books I like to read. Yep. And then I have more fantasy books down there. So yeah, that's just, you know, a little bit of what my shelf looks like. In the future, I'll probably do a shelf tour so you can get like a better look and see what my book taste is like. So yeah, guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching and hanging out with me. And again, my name is Donna and welcome to my book shed. See you guys in the next video. Bye.